only got a couple more series left, Seth. And this one's going to be a doozy. It's Probe versus iaguz. To see who goes through to Jönköping and who will face Cedar in the grand final for thousands of dollars.
That's right, at PVT, we are blessed with lots of different matchups this time around. I think we've maybe only had like one ZVZ on stream, if that.
Did we even have one?
Yeah, I don't know. But it's definitely, time's changing, man.
We haven't seen a ZVZ. No, look, no ZVZ, that means this isn't a real Australian tournament.
Yeah.
Let's pack it up,
We'll have to start again, yeah.
We'll start again next Friday.
That's it. But this is going to be a good one. iaguz vs Probe, another pretty good rivalry within the scene. And last qualifier, Probe actually beat iaguz 3 times.
That's right. Brought that up with Pig just before we closed that last series, that Probe is at iaguz's number in the big tournaments lately.
Yeah.
And in fact, Probe actually performing better than iaguz overseas as well. But this is a new day, and just the shifts between who dominates who changes so often in StarCraft so many times. I was wondering if that changes here for iaguz. See, that is our last game on the schedule, but that is not our last game on stream. The grand final will follow directly after this series. Oh man, this one series will decide who is going through to WCS Jönköping. This series means a whole lot to both these guys. Both of them got to go overseas together this time. Last time, but this time not going to be the case. One of them will have to stay home.
Yeah, stoked to see Cedar qualifying there, because it's a long time coming for me to see Cedar actually head overseas and strut his stuff. Probe, fantastic performances overseas. I know iaguz wants to go again. He's been so many times before, always looking to improve on his previous performance. But this should be an interesting one, because Probe, as we said, has historically had the upper hand in these matches against iaguz.
Yeah, with rather recent history. Like last season's WCS final didn't feel like that long ago.
No, it was
it was like a month and maybe 5 weeks ago.
Yeah, maybe that long. It wasn't long at all. But the other thing is, you know, Probe's mindset today isn't so good. He's been saying, you know, I'm feeling nervous, I'm feeling shaky.
That said, though, he has been looking pretty non-shaky in game the last few games.
That's the weird thing. Like, he is a player that's very hard on himself, but yeah, like it's.
I have a draft ready on Twitter where I've quoted a whole bunch of his tweets to make him look like the foolish fool he is if he wins this tournament. Because I did it last season as well, where he's like, "Oh, there's a waste of time playing this game," and he just wins the whole thing. What a guy.
Yeah. Well, I guess it's a way of taking the pressure off yourself as well. It's like, I don't expect me to win. So when you do, you know, like it's a little better, you'd hope.
So, you know, we do have to bring up mentality, because it does matter a lot in StarCraft. You know, it's a game that's not just about strategy, it's also about mentality and the mind games that can be played within. It's one of the reasons why it's the best esport in the whole world. No argument. You can't even argue that. You're just incorrect. And Probe versus iaguz is definitely going to have a bit of that going on. iaguz is so calm and collected. I've never, ever seen him tilt in a game, ever. I've seen him tilt on various social media platforms, but in game, never. Like his composure is very, very hard to shake.
Yeah, it sure is. And we are loaded into Blood Boil for map number 1.
Interesting map for number 1. Here you go, Zeph. You introduce the player.
In the bottom right, he is iaguz.
One of his favorite metal artists is Lemmy, and this riff sounding a little bit Motorhead, so that's good to hear. In the top left here from OC Root, teammates of iaguz. This is Probe.
Man, this, like, the layout of this map is so odd. I always feel like the camera is the wrong way when you look at the main base like this.
And actually, yeah, it does feel that way a bit, because you have that pocket natural and the main sort of a weird shape. This is one of the maps, or one of the 2 maps that are in the map pool made by Avex, one of my favorite map makers in the history of StarCraft 2. And this one has a lot of unique features. This one will normally be vetoed by players, so it's surprising to see it. But it is a very unique map with a lot of cool things. The Pocket Natural has a lot more mineral patches. There's a lot more minerals there. It has less gas, because you do have that single geyser. But the gold bases on this map are so strong. If you're a player that can get the gold base, you are in a lovely spot to follow on the game.
Yeah, they're nice and juicy. I do hope to get a full best of 3 out of these guys, long games, because that is where both these players excel. Though both of them, you know, haven't been shy to throw out maybe a proxy or a wonky build throughout this tournament.
Definitely not, yeah. I actually would be surprised if we don't see any proxies from Probe. We know that he likes proxy Stargate, and yes, it is very effective against Zerg. I can promise you it's also very effective against Terran. And iaguz going for that Pocket Natural. Well, you have to, really. Like, the expanding out the front is so dangerous.
Yeah, it's more of a Zerg thing, if anything.
Yeah.
So yeah, both players get a bit of a look-see at each other's bases, and they see, okay, all the structures are in the bases, so
Yeah,
that's
all
a good
pylons are
start.
where they're supposed to be. It's a good thing to know in the early stages. And he's SCV scouting and also sending out a Reaper and then getting into Marine production. So not dropping a reactor immediately here for that fast Widow Mine play or anything like that. And it looks like Probe actually may be proxying some tech here. We're talking about it a little bit. The Probe's just chilling on the side. No, okay, no pylon. Never mind.
Nope, but iaguz, on the other hand, up towards the north has begun some shenaniganry with that factory there.
This could be some Widow Mine proxy play. This is something that's either whipped out against Probe and it worked out pretty well.
Yeah, that's something to bring up, actually. Like, Probe has gotten bopped, as he put it, in a PVT already.
Oh, that's a dead Probe.
Yeah, nice. Reaper tax is paid.
Pay the Reaper man. So he gets one probe there from that back natural. This, of course, you don't see Reapers a whole lot in the meta in this matchup, but this is certainly a map where they can be very, very effective. There's a lot of cliffs for them to escape. They can get into the main in 2 different ways. They can get into the back natural in a couple different ways, so it's very, very strong. Reactor going down immediately on that factory instead of a Widow Mine, so this actually may be something a little bit different here. Twilight Council on the way here for Probe.
Stargate following up there. Yeah, Probe pretty much been sticking with the usual PvT style. He will get a lot of adepts. He will head into, that gateway composition later on with maybe Immortals, maybe Disruptors.
Getting blink quite quickly. Now this could be a result of the fact that he's playing on Blood Boil, and he may want to go for a weird timing, or he could just be using it defensively. Yeah. And it is going to be Widow Mine drop, but he's going to be making them 2 at a time instead of 1 at a time.
Nice.
So a little bit different here. He's going to have a lot more Widow Mines than Seether had.
Extra deadly. It looks like Probe has got maybe a bit more of a long-term focus. We'll see. I sort of expect him to go into Colossi in at least one of these. Wow.
It's the depot out here.
Sure.
Casually.
Why not? Alrighty, well, those first 2 mines are about to arrive with that medevac. Probe has still not scouted this, and of course, with limited vision on the other side of the map, he has no idea this is coming, so he has to be very careful. Hopefully, he's watching his mineral lines, because he is actually taking a 3rd, which is just a little more surface area.
Little greedy. Is there a mothership core yet for Probe? I'm not too sure, but we have the Widow Mines coming in here, and first Observer is not quite out yet. There is 2 adepts, and they can snipe down this Widow Mine before it burrows. Not in time, though. Has to warp in a Stalker. He does have Blink. Doesn't have Blink just yet, but when he does, he can bait out those Widow Mine shots. Probe losing 3 probes there. Bit of a rough start. Of course, we know iaguz isn't done quite yet. He's got another medevac with more Widow Mines on the way, and Probe's certainly going to know that this is proxied at this point. This is a very, very quick double drop here.
A bit unfortunate. He's actually supply blocked.
Yeah.
But he does come in with that 2nd round. Blink is just about to finish. He may lose this medevac if he's not careful. I'm not sure if he's seen the Twilight Council yet.
Another drop here with more Widow Mines dropping down. There is an Observer this time, though, and iaguz will pick off those Widow Mines, but not before they take a shot off. Oh, nearly getting that medevac, but not quite. Just taking the shields off the Stalkers and the Adepts, and not terrible there for Probe. And the 3rd Nexus is going up.
Yep, still 4 mines in medevacs out in the field, and a Liberator coming out for a bit of a follow-up as well. So he can continue doing this for ages, provided he doesn't lose those medevacs. Luckily, Probe having Blink makes it a little bit easier for him to actually catch those before they land. But
that is true. But there is a Liberator on the way here for iaguz, and he's getting a tech lab on this factory. Is he going to go for tanks or something insane here? I would actually love that. If he wants to go for a tank follow-up, you need to have Bio to help him out, though.
Probe will know about it, though, because he does have that Observer parked there, so he sees everything that's coming out. He'll be in position for this Liberator.
Yeah, Liberator's not a huge reaction there from Probe. He's a little bit late on the fire there. Nearly loses a Stalker. He will be able to get rid of this Liberator, but not before losing 3 probes here.
Yes, indeed. And 2 mines in the back. He does pull away from that area. And 2 in the main. He's not ready.
The 1 in the main's doing a lot of damage here. 13 probes have gone down. But that said, though, with this 13 probe damage, because Probe has 3 Nexus, it's not that big of a deal. Like, he still has a healthy worker supply. It's not ahead of iaguz, but it's still not bad.
Yeah, all in all, aside from that hit in the main, Probe has dealt with this very well. He's been very on point.
Oh, my God.
Oh, gosh, that's cutting it close.
No, he's just fine.
All right. Yeah. He's all gravy. He's all good. So yeah, like you said, he's got the triple nexus, so he'll be able to recover those probes without too much trouble. Does iaguz have a third CC on the way, or is he just pumping units?
I think he's just making units right now. I haven't seen a third base for him just yet. iaguz is taking the map here. He's got siege tanks being made one at a time from this factory with the tech lab. So it is going to be siege tanks. Called it, but you know, siege tanks are a nice unit for pushing here with Terran. But Probe has a lot of good tools to fight this.
Oh boy.
These Marines, they do have stim, they don't have +1 just yet, and these Stalkers do have blink, so they can engage if microed correctly.
Oh man, iaguz forced into the engagement here,
this is
knowing
bad for iaguz.
He can't win this, but he had to go in there. He was just gonna lose it all anyway. Oh wow.
That was his buffer for those siege tanks.
Beautiful pickup by Probe there, and he's going to be feeling good about that. Like, not today. He's going to head straight in towards that third base location of iaguz and see what he can do out here. He's already got Adepts being a bit of a pain in the backside in the natural.
Yeah, iaguz will clean this up, but taking a little bit of damage. Meanwhile, hello, knock, knock, blink Stalkers, and 2 siege tanks being dropped into the back of the third of Probe.
Uh-oh, but does iaguz have enough to hold on at home? 2 siege tanks are all well and good, but...
No.
Oh, man.
I don't see this going well for iaguz, especially if the medevac gets Blunk on it. He actually has Blink off cooldown. But the problem here for the Terran is that there is Protoss stuff on his production, and he doesn't have enough production to stop it.
Probe looking so good here. He's going to be able to take out anything popping out of those racks. The stim goes down from iaguz, and he moves forward. Can he get it? No, just barely not. He's pulled SCVs, though, knowing he's going to need extra buffer to take out these Stalkers. He's stimming forward, but Probe just blinks back.
That's right, and he was making a third CC during the beginning of that fight. Did it finish up for iaguz? No, it doesn't look like it. So he's still in a pretty awkward spot economically. Like, Probe has 3 nexus, making probes 3 at a time. Look at his work account. It's nearly too many probes.
Yeah, we got a couple more Liberators on the way. iaguz's harassment this game has been really awesome. But
it's been creative. It's very cool, but it hasn't won the game just yet.
That's the thing. It hasn't really gotten him very far. At the moment, he's got Stalkers in his main base. The third base gets killed.
Kill.
Oh wow, Probe looking so good in this game.
Yeah, he's played enough. He's spooning before. We got tanks and Liberators still being made from that proxy. Meanwhile, hello, a bunch of Adepts being warped into the back natural, and iaguz has to make the choice. Do I let these Adepts kill all my workers? Do I let the Stalkers get on my production again? He doesn't have enough units to do both.
Nope, and the Adepts shade into the main. The Marines do take care of it. There's actually not that many Stalkers left at this point, but let's see if he can get some counter-aggression happening with these Liberators. He should be able to pick up a couple of kills, but he has taken such heavy losses at home. 70 workers of Probe to the 42 of iaguz. He's on 3 base. His tech's looking good. He's going up to Colossi. iaguz is struggling even with this damage.
Yeah, he's doing some damage, but 3 probes, I mean, it's not a huge amount of damage. And the Liberators are denying some mining time as well, which is also damage, but they do get cleaned up there by Probe.
Yeah, Probe can really just sit back and bide his time. Build up a nice, big, juicy Protoss ball. He's getting that gold base as well. He can drop all his tech, because iaguz really can't do much to him. He's still relying on these little bits of harassment, maybe a Liberator, maybe a mine drop or something like that. But yeah, Probe's defense has been great.
They're equal in army supply, and Probe might actually want to start cleaning up this proxy. Oh, getting this Prism with some boosted medevacs. It's one less thorn in the side of iaguz here. Getting that Prism is a nice move. And Probe is going to come out here and deal with this proxy. So the army supplies are actually very, very close. They're in advantage for iaguz, so he does have a pretty scary army. But if another fight goes badly, I don't know how things are going to go here for the Terran player.
Yeah, I mean, he's kind of stuck with this 2-base idea now. Does he have another starport at home? Because when Colossi are out with extended thermal lance halfway done.
Nope, that's it.
Oh, man, he's going to need... I guess it's now or never,
with
right?
a lot of bio and with with Marauders, sorry, not medevacs. With a lot of bio and with Marauders, you can still engage Colossus if they don't have much of a buffer. And in fact, a lot of the buffer is going to die here to the stem bio. It does have upgrades. It has +1 attack, not quite +1 armor, but he is a lovely siege position here, and this 4th Nexus is going to go down.
Wow, that is actually a lot of bio. The Liberators coming in again. The army of Probe was out of position, cut in 2 halves. Another Colossus is going to come out soon. But iaguz gets a nice pick off there at the 4th base.
Don't you dare.
Wow, he's actually getting quite a few Probe kills here.
Yeah, it's not too bad here from iaguz. He does have to do 30 more Probe damage than that if he wants to even the plate. Here come the Colossus. iaguz has a sort of a flank here at the moment. He has a pretty big concave. Does Probe have enough?
I think iaguz may might just be able to clean this up. No, Blink in on the side does take out these siege tanks, and he just barely does not have enough to polish this off. Those Colossi being so valuable. There's the GG, and Probe takes game number 1.
Yeah, there it is. Those Colossus didn't even get the paint scratched off them there. They were well and truly in sitting pretty. So the thing is, when you have those siege tanks, you're like, oh, do I target fire the Colossus? Or do I try and save the tanks by fighting the Gateway Army? And unfortunately, you know, he tried to fight the Gateway Army for a little bit too long there, and those Colossus were doing consistent splash damage from the back. I mean, they weren't heavily upgraded, but they had Thermal Lance. And I think there was a third Colossus coming to reinforce and liven the laser party there for the Protoss player towards the end of that fight. So... damn. Great first game there from Probe. Really played that map very well.
Yeah, loved iaguz's strategy, but Probe really did defend it well. He took one unfortunate hit in the main, and after that, it was like, never again. I'm going to have 70 probes the rest of this game. My economy's going to be great. I'm going to get all the tech, and you're going to have no say in it. So I think iaguz hit with the best that he could, and he almost had it. Like, it looked like he might have been able to kill that army at one point, but fortunately not.
Also, that was a weird map.
Yeah.
So that one's going to that one's done with now, and we're going to go into probably, you know, the other maps have some interesting features, but they're not as strange as Blood Boil. So this could go into a more regular looking TvP. Of course, you know, proxy factory, proxy starport, proxy liberators, and all that sort of stuff going down. It's a starport for Terran. It's the Protoss structure.
All right.
And so it's going to be a little bit more regular. I'm calling it here. Yeah.
Yeah.
So and then the regular game goes. This is actually a clash of two people with very, very similar styles. They both want to play the later game. They both have extremely strong macro and multitask. But as it stands out, Probe generally comes on ahead when it goes into the later game.
Yeah, he does.
iaguz has been, you know, even last season from memory, he was whipping out some wonky 2-base timings like ghost rushes and that sort of thing. Pulling the boys, you know, that old style, the old way to play TvP.
Yeah, I remember that.
Get a Coast Academy, don't get an armory, just get 1-1 and pull the boys.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think in this season as well, he's still sort of stuck with that idea. Like, his openers are a little different. You know, he used to always open the same way, get into the mid and late game, and then that's where he would play. But he has been changing it up. Yeah,
I love that he's changing it up. You know, we've seen some weird Hellbat Cyclone action with tank follow-up in TVZ, specifically on Ascension to Ire, and we've seen some proxy play already in this series. So it's a little bit different so far from iaguz. It's not the iaguz of old, with pretty much one build per matchup, and that's it. Yeah,
it does make him a little harder to predict and prepare for, because he has been that solid macro Terran for so long, just sticking with good old bio. And to be fair, his strategies still end up there at the end of the day. I mean, especially in TvP, that's kind of what you got. But we are on Odyssey now for game number 2. And he's down 1 in the series here in the top left. Can he put a point on the board? This is iaguz.
He certainly can, but will he? And in the bottom right, currently on match point, 1 map away from Jönköping, this is Probe.
You can almost taste it.
Almost taste it as those little crash symbols get the bell hit there. So this is a really cool map. This is obviously the most relaxing looking map. It's got the nice little wading pools. Everything's a little bit ankle deep, so you can't drown. It's very safe. It actually blew my mind when I was like when I first played my ladder game on this map. So first ever game I ever played, and then I'm walking a bunch of my Marines over the water, and it makes that splish splash sound. And then
Does it?
Yes. Yeah. I think if you have ambient sounds on, which I do, I think it makes a splish splash noise.
I do too, but I think my sound levels are all wonky because
You're probably blasting your speed metal. Your depressive drone rock like the black metal, something like that.
That's exactly
sort
what
of
I
stuff
ladder
that,
to.
You know, speaks to your soul.
It's probably why I lose so many ladder points.
Yeah. We have a Reaper opening here from iaguz. So pretty standard TvP opening and expanding as well. And Probe, does he want to go for Stargate or something in this game? I know he has done it in the past, especially against Terran. You know, it's something, the Oracle is a very, very strong opener. You can transition into Phoenix Adept after that, and it's... Yeah, Pig kind of touched on it where Probe he doesn't actually like to play Phoenix Adept, but he knows that he can, and he will sometimes because he knows that Terrans have such a hard time against it. This Probe's giving me some question marks here just to the bottom of iaguz's natural.
Yeah, I was gonna say like
it's a very bold proxy if he proxies there, by the way.
Yeah, I was gonna
it's
say
like right in his face.
Not sure if he'd bother. He's just hiding from the Reaper, so he can come back in a second time. He can continue to tickle that SCV, I guess. One Marine is out the front here though, and the Stargate is coming up, but it has been made in the main. Reaper doesn't even bother heading in there actually.
The probe goes down, doesn't get any information, but he does see that the CC's here, and he has seen a Reaper, so he does know that's a pretty regular Terran opening. He's going to get a factory back at home this time. Just to change things up. Oh, probe kill, nice.
2 probe kills.
Wow.
1 at his base and 1 at Pro's base. So a nice little start to the game.
Yeah, it's always nice when your Reaper gets a little bit damaged on there. It's pretty free.
Mm-hmm. And we've got that second Adept on the way now as well. Stargate finishing up, so we'll be able to see an Oracle in just a moment. And otherwise, in iaguz Town, like you said, it's looking very standard. We do have the mine popping out. With that Stargate follow-up, he will be able to drop that mine.
This is actually a mine drop opener. It's very, very good. This is what I do in TvP. It's a bit of an all-rounder. It can be very good against, you know, if you get attacked early, it can be very good into mid-game, transition into later game. It's a strong all-rounder build. It's the kind of build that I like to do. We have a Reaper coming in here, sees a Stargate, brilliant scout here from iaguz, so he knows exactly what he's up against. And, you know, when you go for this opening, you don't even need to drop the engineering bay if you don't want to. You can actually defend with just the Marines and the Winter Mines.
Yep, you sure can. This Reaper will go down. He tries to take a couple of probes with him, but no such luck. Nice use of the Adepts there by Probe to use the Shades to chase that Reaper around as well. With the Oracle coming out now, we see iaguz making sure he's positioned well to cover those mineral lines. The Adepts might poke in at the same time, but I think iaguz should be okay.
Yeah, Viking's just about to pop in time for this Oracle. And the main is naked, but there, I mean, there's a Viking here, so he has to go in the natural where there's a bunch of Marines and there's also a Widow Mine as well. The Adepts taking a... going forward and getting that mine hit there. There's still a lot of Marines, so you can't actually engage this just yet.
Yeah, not quite. Definitely not going to finish those Shades. He takes out 2 of the Adepts. Not sure he'll get the 3rd, but trying to with the Viking there. And he's actually parked the Widow Mine way out the front, I think.
And iaguz getting a bunch more barracks here instead of a 3rd base. Ooh. This could be a 2-base timing, especially with that Raven on the way.
Yeah, he has been a little too basey in TvP.
Yeah, this is looking a little too basey.
Raven, always good defensively, of course, but he can use it for that hate ras as well if he feels like it.
I feel like this is for a push, this Raven.
Yeah.
NG Bay on the way here. iaguz dealing with a supply block. And there's also a Void Ray follow-up here for Probe, which is quite nice if there's a, you know, tank player or anything like that. Oh. Watch it, Miss Oracle.
Right next to that Widow Mine.
So the Widow Mine won't set it off unless it unburrows.
Yeah.
Lol.
That might actually be lucky if he does that rather than go out for his push and his whole army gets delayed.
There's some Marines here, but unfortunately for iaguz, if these 2 Oracles decide to go ham, I think they can actually win that fight. 2 Oracles with lasers, pretty damn good.
Quite likely. He does have the Viking floating around somewhere though, so...
Raven here. Doesn't bait out the auto turret.
That gives Probe a fair bit of scouting information as well to try and find out if there's a 3rd CC building in that base
Raven
or
sees
not.
the stasis ward.
Very nice.
Oh, but iaguz still getting a few Marines scored there. Rip.
Oh well.
Clever
Better now
girl.
than when he's actually looking to head out across the map. Got a couple of medevacs on the way. Siege tanks +1, and Stim is almost finished as well.
Yep, he's getting the tanks as well, so there's going to be a nice big push from iaguz. It's going to be a pretty strong timing with +1 and Stim and Combat Shield. And meanwhile, Probe's, you know, played a more regular PvT here. He's trying to get the 3rd Nexus up. He's going to give them as much production as you want for 3 Nexus. And getting cannons as well, because he knows that Widow Mine's still a very real and present threat in this game for him. Big tag there. Getting a good look at the Marine count, picking off a Widow Mine. Nice moves here with these Oracles.
Yeah, very nicely done. As long as he keeps those alive, he can use them the rest of the game for scouting information, for bits of damage here and there.
Probe knows about the push. He knows his push is coming.
Yes.
Yep, he sees the tank with that revelation. Well, he has the revelation on the Marines, but the Marines are standing right next to the tank, so he sees by extension that there is going to be a big push from iaguz, so he's going to have to start getting his defenses into gear here.
And there's still actually nothing in terms of static defense to defend these mineral lines, so 6 workers go down as soon as iaguz tries to move out. Brilliant moves by Probe there.
Single Marine of iaguz coming down to see if there's a 3rd Nexus and what he has to deal with this push. Does he want to go through the high ground towards the natural? Because if he gets sieged on that high ground in range of the natural, the 3rd base location doesn't actually matter. Oracles, man.
Wow. He's got to finish up that missile turret, yeah.
But you know what? iaguz doesn't even care about
No,
SCVs right now. He is all about this army and his army beating Probe's army, and his army is a lot better than Probe's.
It sure is. Probe does have that third base. If he holds on here, he's looking
nice
good.
force fields.
Very nicely done. Liberation zone's looking for a good spot to set up here, and he can leapfrog forward. It's very hard to engage this. But so far, Probe has done a good job. He just needs to be able to section off this unit.
Really? Wow.
He's committed, man. He's got to do everything he can to take this. It does go down, though, to the overcharge. And I guess stims forward, moves up a little bit. Got to be careful. There's still a force field left, I believe, but...
Yeah, these overcharges are doing a lot of damage, but I think that there's actually it for the overcharge energy here on the mothership. No, she's got a couple more, sorry.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's got a little bit more.
Oh, she does.
A couple more where that came from, but these pylons are going to get taken down slowly but surely by the siege tanks. In fact, the Marine's going to make sure it's an even faster job than before. Oh, overcharge a little bit late to the party here. Time to bat away this Bioforce. The gateways are in range. Oracle's still doing worker damage, but again, iaguz does not care about losing SCVs right now, just as long as his army kills Probe.
Oh, Probe is actually supply blocked as well, having lost those pylons on the front lines. It looks like he's going to try and go for
it. It's a big blink. Tons of upgraded bio. The Adept's going through the back, eating a Widowmine shot. Does iaguz have too much, or does Probe overwhelm here? It's looking like Probe may just not have enough. There's just the Terran reinforcements may be enough to stop these Adepts here, especially with that siege tank, or the Adepts are actually going to focus fire it down.
I don't know, there's not actually a lot of Terran reinforcements at all, and everything gets cleaned up. Probe has done it. He cleans it up with some very bruised units left over, but look, there's 29 workers left for iaguz. He has no third CC.
There's no plan B for iaguz here. He's in the game because he's on. This is an elimination match. He has to try and do something. I feel like if this was a ladder game, iaguz would have just GG'd right there, but this is a tournament game. There's a lot of money on the line here. He's got to hope that Probe makes a massive mistake, but iaguz, no ifs, ands, or buts about it, is against the ropes here. That doesn't look good for him.
Yeah, this is a pretty dire situation for him at this point, but he's got to fight it out for the chance that he might be able to make a recovery here and even it up to a 1-1. Probe shades in and sees, okay, you actually do have a fair bit of stuff, but the problem is, of course, that is it. That is all the stuff that iaguz has.
That's right. That's the entire army of iaguz. And he's making units as he can, getting concussive shell as well, because that's a nice, if a fight goes well, concussive shell is amazing, because he catches the units trying to retreat. Probe's in such a comfortable spot that he's trying to get that 4th gold nexus up, instead of taking the one that's, in a safer location.
Mm-hmm. Well, when you're ahead, get more ahead, and he may as well go for the gold base.
Hello, Adepts. Nice catch there from iaguz.
Yeah.
His army supply is still worlds ahead of Probe's.
It is.
If they fight armies again, I feel like it's going to go terribly for Probe, but I mean, iaguz had to get into overcharges, he had to deal with overcharged pylons, the mothership core, the defender's advantage for Protoss definitely helped out Probe a ton there, but if these armies clash in the middle of the map, it's a very different story.
That is a scary thing, and Probe knows there's a part 2 coming. He's just got to be getting that force to deal with it. And the question is, does he have enough? Immortals will definitely help out. He's got a lot of force fields available as well. No liberation zones this time. Just siege tank fire and a Widowmine.
Yeah, and siege tanks may be enough with this ton of bio. I think the bio is 1-1 with stim. So it's got a lot of punch to it. As the immortal count gets higher and higher, it's going to be tougher for iaguz to do this. A Probe's Adept Shade seeing what he's up against. He's going to pull back, give a little bit more ground to iaguz here. He's actually bullying that ramp now. So now that that ramp's been taken, Probe's going to find it very tough to get a concave, like a wraparound here against iaguz.
He certainly is. iaguz is doing this really nicely too. He knows he can't waste too much time here.
So he's get the mothership core.
Leaping forward quite quickly. Yeah, it does go down. A few probes going down as well, but there's a blink forward from Probe straight onto the siege tanks.
Oh, there's so much bio. Yeah, and this bio knows that it's going to be in this fight, and iaguz somehow manages to win this push the second time around. GG, we're going to game 3.
Wow, what a recovery from iaguz with the part 2 of the push there. Gosh, it looked bad for him in the beginning, but...
Who needs economy when you have army supply?
Right? He literally had oracles sitting in his natural, killing everything that whole time.
Yep.
And he still gets the win. Very well done.
Well, I mean, he with that 2-base style, he had enough income to have a second wave. Like, he didn't need 40 SCVs, 20 is just fine if you have the income. Mules, of course, help out a lot with that. He has so much production that that army came back deceptively fast.
Yeah, exactly. And the other thing too is that when he actually took out Probe's forces, Probe had like a handful of gateway units left, a few very hurt adepts, and maybe 3 or 4 stalkers. It wasn't actually a lot, so he had to rebuild as well.
I actually wonder if Probe actually knew that there was a second follow-up to that attack, because he was trying to get that gold nexus up, which is very bold. When you think
it
that,
is,
you know,
yeah.
if you're thinking, hey, the Terran's going to come attack me again, then maybe you don't take that base. Maybe you're just happy to sit on 3 and you lock things down, make a bit more production.
Yeah,
a few
maybe.
more units.
Maybe, or maybe he was just overconfident because he did have those depths floating around the map. He had one parked at the like southern base, and then he had the other one circling around trying to find. He had the oracles there as well. So I feel like surely he knew there was no third CC, right? Like,
yeah, he saw that when he attacked.
Yeah. So oh well, game number 2 goes to iaguz, and now we're on match point to see who is gonna qualify. Oh my god.
Yeah, it's very, very, very tense here going into game 3. There's one map to decide who goes through to Jönköping. Guys, if there was ever a time to tell your friends to tune in to a match that means a lot to 2 people, then you need to tune in right now and get your friends to tune in right now, because this one is going to be lit AF fam.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Okay, we went there.
We went there.
All right.
That's right. 100, 100. It's going to be good, guys. So get amongst it, get on that social media, get into Twitch chat, and let everyone know that it is going to go down here on Twitch TV StarCraft, the WCS ANZ Challenger. This one decides who goes through, and then if you stick around longer than that, you're going to get another best of 3 to decide who gets the big bucks at the end of the tournament. What is first place?
I'm actually not sure in terms of Australian dollars because it is $10,000 in AUD.
It's an AUD prize pool, that's right.
And I had a look at the distribution earlier, but it was converted to US, which made it very confusing. So it's about $3,000 US for first place and about 1.5 for second place. Third and fourth, I think, get about 750 each. So still pretty good payday for these players already, having hit that top 3. But
yeah, not bloody bad.
Yeah, you still want to get that a little bit more.
All right, in the top left here, winning game 1, losing game 2. Will he win game 3? This is OSC Roots Probe. It's a very southern-sounding riff. I like it.
And in the bottom right, the blue Terran with the comeback in the last series, he is iaguz.
It does look. Could be the last time we see him in this tournament.
Would be.
Could be.
Probe does tend to have his number. I'm sure he's not.
And game 2 looked shaky. That was that wasn't a clean victory there for iaguz. That one, you know, got a little bit lucky there. But you know, we're in game number 3 here on Abyssal Reef. This one's another one of the maps in the pool that has a lot of interesting things, but it's not particularly heavily balanced in one way or another. Although I think that if iaguz wants to go for another 2-base push, maybe with Siege Tech Raven or something like that, I think that this map has a lot of really nice spots to be able to set up and really bring the hurt to a Protoss player. And just to let you guys know as well, the format of the final will be best of 5 with a 1-map advantage to whoever comes through. Sorry, for Seether, basically. He will have a 1-map advantage, being the winner's bracket finalist.
That'll be a good series no matter who advances. It's the cream of the crop in our region.
Creme de la creme, as our French friends would say.
All right, well, that little pesky Probe is forced to go home, and iaguz looking to take his natural CC on the low ground there.
He's a low ground expander, this kid.
He is. Yeah, very rarely will you see him do it in the main. I do wonder what Probe's tech of choice is going to be this time round.
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised we haven't seen a proxy from Probe just yet. The proxies have all been on iaguz's side of the board.
Yeah. I mean, Proxy Oracle is so standard. It's
yeah.
I feel like it's kind of, you see it every series.
In PVT and PVZ.
That's right. Well, Probe once again hides his worker. Probe hides his probe.
Probe hides his probe. Probes.
Yeah. So he can actually come in again for another poke if he so wishes, but the Reaper will similarly get a scout over at Probe's house.
Yep, Reaper coming up in Probeville. Mothership Core's out saying get away. This is part of the reason why you don't see a ton of Reaper builds anymore, is the Mothership Core generally pops out to overcharge and kill that Reaper straight up. Just 2 shots from an overcharge pylon, kill that Reaper. Probe's coming down here. I did it. He's coming down for a scout, so he's just looking to avoid that Reaper. It's not a proxy or anything like that. This Marine will kill it, though. It's already damaged.
Yep. And,
iaguz. Close the front door.
Yeah,
There's a draft.
Didn't expect to get that far.
All right. So this Reaper nearly getting a probe there. Not quite. Adept's going to put an end to this party. The Mashikora is floating down towards the third natural area, looking for, you know, catching any reinforcements or anything like that.
Mm-hmm. And it's going to be the Robo first this time, followed by the Twilight.
Yeah.
So probably not that blink play we've been seeing in the last game.
Could be Adept.
Just a bit more delayed. I always seem to assume Adept, but
I actually like Blink better at the moment with Terrans lacking to go for Widow Mine openings and Liberator follow-ups. I think that the Blink is a lot stronger against that.
Yeah, I do actually like the mobility a little bit. And someone like Probe is actually really good at like that Blink Colossus style as well.
Yeah.
So I think
stats
yeah.
fast Colossus style.
Yeah,
There is Blink here from Probe.
All right. Cool. So just a little bit later this time around, and he should be fine to macro with that. I'm thinking perhaps towards long term. We'll see if he goes for that third base.
Yeah, I mean, this is a similar opening to how he opened on Blood Boil, so it usually has a faster third Nexus.
Yeah. He is very much a 3-base player. I guess trying to strategically position these Widow Mines.
That's like the Gotcha Oracle position or Gotcha Prism position.
Yeah, hasn't had much luck with that so far. Although he could even just try and run that into the natural if he wants when this drop comes into the main.
Yeah, could do. He's getting the Raven again. When you see Raven and you see Tech Labs going down for the Terran, you're thinking, another Siege Tank push. There it is, Siege Tank's on the way. God, sometimes I can analyze games, Zeph. It feels good when you get it right sometimes.
Must be all that streaming experience, man. Playing all the races, learning all the builds.
A little bit, that's right.
Yeah.
I know how this feels from the Protoss side. It's not nice. Widow Mines are definitely a very annoying unit when you have to be on the receiving end.
Oh,
Widow Mine dropping in
position.
here. Going to hit the Stalker. Doesn't have Blink just yet, so can't deal with that.
Nope.
Oh, Reaper coming into the natural, trying to join in, and I think with a KDA grenade, maybe? No, not quite. And this Widow Mine's not going to burrow either. Overcharge, a little bit too much DPS, and I think that Probe's actually going into the Colossus style, like you mentioned, with Blink Stalker openings. This is a very, very strong follow-up, something that Stats likes to do. Popularized it in PvT. I find it a lot more interesting than Phoenix Adept, but
definitely
it's also a very, very well-rounded composition. You have the consistent splash damage of the Colossus, you have the Blink Stalkers to deal with Medivacs and also with Vikings and that sort of thing, and Liberators and such. Probe doesn't know about the, you know, if you see a Raven, you're going to be thinking, uh-oh, like that TY style two-basing, or in this case, 3-basing from iaguz, but it definitely has a strong push involved within. Siege Tanks are actually a very nice tech choice in general if he wants to play the later game, because there is going to be Stalkers. Yeah. And Siege Tanks are quite good against them.
Even so, just making one Siege Tank earlier on really helps with a defense if you need to. Say Probe decided to chuck some stuff at him, you know, he'd be totally fine with a Siege Tank set up in the right spot. He does have +1 attack on the way, combat shields, and Stim, which is about halfway done currently. So with the addition of a couple more medevacs, you're absolutely right. He will be able to head out on the map and start to siege up Probe and put that pressure on. And there's actually some really nice spots to siege those tanks where you can be quite hard to engage.
Absolutely right. We have a War Prism coming in here with a couple of Adepts. 2 Adepts, 1 shot, and SCV. So it's a good little harassment force.
Only 1 kill so far. I guess we'll try and turn around and deal with that. The beauty of the Warp Prism, of course, is that those Adepts never actually have to die.
Yeah, that's true. Good old Warp Prism. And Disruptors to follow up here. So he's made one, I think he made 1 Colossus, and now he's going straight into Disruptor play.
Okay.
Interesting. And no third Nexus yet either.
Maybe we got it the wrong way around.
Oh, yeah.
I think that War Prism is being a huge bother to iaguz. He wants to move out, but every time he does, he's got to deal with these pesky Adepts.
I just realized that Adepts actually, they one-shot, if they're shooting 2 volleys, they one-shot drones, but not SCVs. David Kim one time. I got to stop calling his name now. He's not involved anymore. Yeah. All right, got a little push here with the Liberators and the Ravens. Very, very, very powerful.
Yeah, and Probe is actually coming out to meet him with these Stalkers. Got to be a tad careful. He does have Blink, so he can run away all right.
There's a lot more Terran in the bushes there.
Yes. Hiding away, waiting to pounce. He's actually going to head up towards that third base location. Yeah.
Now there's going to be some SCV kills for sure. iaguz coming in here to clean this up, and he will be able to get these Adepts eventually. Looks like maybe 2 of them will shade away.
Yeah, and I guess it's continuing to produce workers behind this. It's not like an all-in with a sneaky third base or anything like that. He is definitely still focused on that economy. Liberator joining on the front. This is actually not a big Protoss army. He has to be careful.
True. Disruptor shot coming in here, connecting with one Marauder, but there's still a lot left from iaguz. Probe's actually in a bit of trouble here, Zeph.
But the blink from behind, that was only half of his army, and a lot of the units went down on the left-hand side there, cleaning up the siege tanks, cleaning up the rest of the bio, and while iaguz is still somehow alive and doing damage here, he does not have a lot left.
Yeah, the reinforcement here of this of these Stalkers will clean this up. The Colossus taking a fair bit of damage there from the Liberator before it comes through and cleans it up. Damn, that was a very scrappy engagement there, but Probe coming up on top means he gets to keep that third Nexus. The army supply of iaguz took a bit of a hit there. It's not too bad, though. Both players pretty close here.
Yeah, it was a bit of a short-lived push, really. iaguz would have liked to siege up and, you know, leapfrog forward a bit more there, but he got shut down quite quickly with those disruptor shots. DT Shrine coming up for Probe behind this, and I don't think iaguz is prepared for that. I don't think he has any detection, really, aside from scans.
Yeah, I mean, you have scans, but it depends how heavily you're muling, and also, you know, it's around about that time when you want to be thinking, you know, the Protoss tier 3, what's he going for? And it's kind of weird sometimes to see sudden Dark Templar, but it's certainly a very, very strong strategy. Yeah. Especially when iaguz is definitely concentrating on just getting his army up and getting his upgrades up right now.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, and here we go. We got some missile turrets coming in. More because he's sick of this Warp Prism than anything else. But these Adepts will definitely get some more kills, just being a huge pain in the behind. Very nicely done by Probe in the third base as well. 10 worker kills.
Damn, that's a lot of damage there. 11 in total, and Probe's 61 probes versus the 52 workers of iaguz. But iaguz's army is insane right now. Very, very powerful against what Probe's making.
Yes, indeed. But these DTs might be able to throw a bit of a spanner in the works.
It could just be a cheaper way to get Archons as well.
Yeah, fair point.
A single DT being warped in, but the Prism is being spotted by that Viking. Oh, the Prism may go down. Yeah, it will, but the DTs do manage to get morphed out, and there's going to be more SCV kills here.
Yep, iaguz sprints up his ramp. Got to deal with that. He's already lost a lot of workers, and he doesn't want to have to keep producing those because he lost too many. There we go. One goes down the main. The one and third still going to get some damage done.
He's got a scan on the third base in a second. He's just going to wait for that turret. Turret's done. DT dealt with. And it was just those two DTs, but they got 7 SCVs, so not a bad move there from Probe. Third one, just on the ground, taking the long way. Not going to worry about, you know, remaking that Prism just yet.
Yeah.
It wants that robotics facility to keep churning out those scary robotics units.
Yeah, another Colossus about halfway done. His 2-2 upgrades coming down as well, and Templar Archive. So he's at that point where he's got a really comfortable economy. He's got that fourth base up. He's getting all the tech under the sun, and hopefully he'll be ready in the late game, but before that, iaguz is actually going to move out with a big juicy bio ball, and that is a lot of Liberators in support.
Yeah, this is like TY style. So many Liberators.
Blotting out the sky.
That's right. And the Protoss will fight in the shade.
Oh, this is going to be horrible to engage.
Big doom drop with the Liberation Zones to defend as well. The dangerous thing about this is when your Protoss opponent has Blink Stalkers, you can lose everything, but another DT coming in here. It's in detection range, but it still gets some workers and just leaves.
Yeah, there's a couple of Marines there.
Scan here. Liberators taking a few overcharged shots to the face there. Getting very, very hurt, and a couple of them. The Observer actually spoiling the party here for iaguz.
Yeah, he does take it out though, so that opens it up for later on if he doesn't replace that Observer. That would have been nice for iaguz if he could have made it happen, but Probe is 2 on the ball. Another drop looking to go into the main though, and it doesn't look like this one's been spotted just yet. He's also got a force down at the fourth, excuse me.
Medevac's not getting targeted down, so they actually unload all their bio. The Liberator's being focused there by Probe, and he loses a lot of his Stalkers there. The Thermal Lance isn't done for the Colossus, so they actually have to eat a few Liberator shots to get up in there. And meanwhile, this Nexus getting picked off by iaguz. He's hitting several places at once.
Yeah, third base now under siege from the drop that was initially in the main, and that will get cleaned up, but more lost mining time and a couple of probes going down. Still Probe's economy looking very good in terms of the worker count, but losing that fourth does suck.
I mean, that actually just kind of evened things out because there's no fourth for iaguz just yet.
Yeah.
And these Liberators can be picked off by the Stalkers. A big drop with 3 medevacs full of bio here in the back of Natural. Mothership Core goes down. A reinforcement just charging up the ramp here.
Oh, and the Liberators here on the low ground are getting a few shots on these Stalkers, on the Colossi as well. And iaguz cleans up a bunch more probes and then heads out of there with the medevacs. Going to try and save what he can here.
He's losing a fair bit. Army supply now in Probe's advantage, but he did manage to take away that worker, that worker supply advantage that Probe had was astronomical, and now it's just still, it's a solid advantage instead of astronomical.
Yeah, Probe is just really good with that worker production.
Yeah. Oh, he usually has Chrono Boost on his Nexus for most of the game.
Yeah.
He just gets those probes out. He's not replenishing them, but it's not a huge deal. He's still got a pretty good probe count. He's concentrating on getting Storm out now. It's all about that tier 3. It's getting to the late game here.
Yeah, and I still sitting tight on 3 bases. Is going to want to think about a 4th base soon. He's got +2 attack halfway done and continuing with the same composition that he had before. Just a few more Vikings in the mix, I guess, to deal with these Colossi. Because the money units for Probe are still alive. What he's lost throughout those defenses are, a few workers and gateway units for the most part. So at least he's kept those expensive ones right where they need to be.
That's right. I guess gearing up for that 4th base. It's actually just lifting out the main and transferring it over. This DT of Probe does see that this transfer is happening. Misses an opportunity to get some SCVs there, but no big deal.
Yeah, not a huge problem. Probe's 4th is back up and running now, and he's starting to mix in more disruptors, which means that iaguz's control is going to have to be on point when he engages this, because my goodness, is there going to be a lot of splash on the field.
There is. Protoss, the army supply of both players, very, very close. Upgrades now even for both players, +3 on the way for Probe. And these Colossus are very, very scary considering the lack of anti-air here for iaguz, or the lack of Vikings. There's some coming down here. The Liberator's actually helping out a little bit. Stalker's blink forward, shaving into that Viking count, which isn't huge already. Getting up to the high ground and heading towards this 4th base.
Yeah, he's going to look to hit here. It's a nice spot for iaguz to set up, though, with those liberation zones. These chokes are actually quite difficult to engage into. Oftentimes, it coming up a ramp as well, which makes it a little stickier, but it's also not a lot of room for iaguz to micro. Storm goes down on the front. The Liberators on the front lines do fall. He's pushing iaguz back, but he doesn't actually have a lot of buffer left for these Colossi.
Yeah, the Vikings are going down now, and these Colossi are starting to get pressed forward. This big disruptor hit, getting a lot of the bio there of iaguz. The Liberators are coming in here. They're starting to actually win this fight for iaguz. He's going to crush it, actually. The bio is hurt, but there's just enough left to push Probe back and crush his army. And now iaguz, with a massive army supply advantage, he could definitely press the issue here and try and end the game.
He certainly could. He's got so much left over. His macro is still looking great. 4 Liberators at a time in production at the moment. Definitely beef up this army in an instant. That 4th base survives as well, and he is looking to get something done over in Probe Town. Probe warps in a few more High Templar, a few more depths, trying to get disruptors, but it feels very scrappy, like bits and pieces, because he knows that iaguz is coming at him.
Yeah, this Fireball is even scarier than Liberators right now. This 4th Nexus being evacuated by Probe. He doesn't even contest it. He's letting it go down. He just wants to make sure that he wins this fight. Purification over heading up there. Oh, iaguz actually moving forward a little bit at the last second there, taking his Purification over the face. A lot of his bio getting shaved off. He does still have a huge army supply advantage, though, and these Liberators coming out 2 at a time, actually 4 at a time, for a while from those. He's just going to actually use that last spot on that reacted starport to get a medevac now, because his medevac count isn't incredible.
Yeah, and Ghost Academy is now on the way, as well as +3 attack for iaguz. He's probably feeling pretty comfy after that engagement. That went very well for him.
So he missed +2 armor. He's only got +2 attack and +1 armor for iaguz.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Weird.
Probe's vision on the map is still amazing, though, by the way. He just has such good scouting. He has observers all over the place. Where there's not an observer, there's a unit of some description, whether it's a DT or a Zealot or what have you. So he has a really good idea of iaguz's movements out on the map, and he's still finding ways to do damage. He's killed so many workers this game.
Yeah, he sure has, and that DT's just didn't quite make it out of detection range there. Disruptor's getting made by Probe. Still, I think he just has the 1 robotics facility this whole game, I think. And we have Ghosts starting to get produced by iaguz, but iaguz's gas bank is not incredible.
No, he actually needs to take the gas at the 4th, I think.
Yeah, he is now.
All right.
Yeah, this is still a pretty scary army for Probe, even though he's down a bit in supply. There's a lot of splash damage here. And it is very heavily upgraded. It has +3 attack. +3 attack is on the way for iaguz, but not done just yet, and it takes a long time to finish.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Like when he went up to that 4th, he took out the base, but he couldn't really push forward. Didn't want to risk it because he saw like 4 High Templar waiting there with Storms, and it's very easy to overcommit. Now they have even more Storms. We've got Disruptors still in the mix as well.
Yeah,
no
so
more
much
Colossi.
splash damage in this army. It's actually, it comes down to how Probe controls this, whether or not he'll win this fight. Purification they're going forward, getting a couple Marauders there.
The Disrupt does go down there.
Yeah, losing the Disruptor for 2 Marauders, not super worth.
Probe.
A lack of Observer here for Probe. He's getting one made right now. Peppering in those Adepts to beef out this army because the Stalker is actually not super strong anymore against the army of iaguz. It's very, very Marauder heavy.
Yeah. And Probe is still... He's been looking for a way to attack into iaguz, but iaguz's defensive positioning is just so good with these Liberators.
Oh, it's a big storm there. The Disruptor does go down, and a Templar as well. Ooh, not great for Probe. So many Liberators left in the sky, and he's setting up position here where he wants to start engaging this army. Eats another big storm there. That second one not as good, but that first one was a pretty good storm for a Probe.
Yeah, he wants that money EMP. That's what it's going to be all about on these units.
Yeah, the Ghost is still ready. Not going ahead of himself. Storm on the Liberators, doing a little bit of damage, but the Liberators have quite a lot of HP. An Adept run by here, getting some damage done. It looks like a Liberator on the defense, though. Probe conceding that low ground, getting back up into the high ground, leaving the natural open for iaguz to get up there and possibly kill some very, very expensive tech.
Yeah, he could take out the Templar Archives. Oh, where are the Liberation Zones on that choke? Oh, that's so hard for Probe to push through, and he does back up. The Nexus goes down, and so does the Templar Archives. Lots more damage being done behind this. The fourth base of
EMPs on those Templar.
Oh, no.
iaguz with that trigger finger there. Snap decision. Manages to pull off a couple of those EMPs, getting rid of those Storms.
His positioning there, oh, it's really good for iaguz. He's cut him off from his main. Although he's taken a lot of damage behind this, he still hasn't been able to quite clear up all the Adepts that have been doing some harassment behind this. 22 workers do go down, but can Probe deal with this army?
Well, it's a big question that needs to be answered here. It doesn't look very good so far. Probe actually bleeding a lot of units here. +3 is done for this Terran army. Oh my god, that Storm's incredible, but doesn't even matter. There's still so much left. We even have Medivacs healing the units as well. Plenty of energy left to be able to heal up this stimmed army, or at least, you know, get a lot of its HP back. Nexus going down one after another for Probe. He does have a fresh one down here in the south, though, to transfer his probes down to.
Yeah.
Oh, another EMP there on the High Templar. I think one of them's about to have a storm, but still managed to get one of them.
Yeah, these Medivacs don't have a lot of energy left, but...
Oh, Probe's getting pulled here. This is it for Probe. Can he win this fight?
Yeah, it's looking pretty good for iaguz so far. These units just a little bit too beefy. All the probes have gone down. Adepts and Stalkers do survive, but he stims forward and he mows them all down.
And that is going to be it. iaguz is going to Jönköping with his Terran brother, Seether. Congrats, guys. I think is what he was trying to say there. Well played, iaguz.
Very well done.
It looked shaky for him there.
It did. That was not an easy win.
Yeah, no, each one of these games in the series looked very shaky for Guz. Ended up coming on top in the end there. Yes. So managing to upset that streak that Probe's had against him for a few of these WCS qualifiers.
Definitely getting revenge for last season. Losing to him 3 times. So yes, iaguz and Seether, 2 Terrans. What?
Double Terran reps going down to Jönköping. Very, very, very nice. So we'll have to see how they go. We have the, of course, the grand finale is going to be next. But for starters, we have, first of all, slow clap and congratulations to Seether and iaguz. 2 Terran hopes for our region, going to go to Jönköping in the WCS final for Season 2. So, guys, if you want to send them some love, it is at @RootIaguz on Twitter, and also at GiveSeether, I believe, is the other Twitter handle for the 2 Terran hopes.
That is it. Give them some love, guys. They've done a fantastic job. They're in the money and they're going overseas, which is awesome.
To Sweden.
Yes.
DreamHack Summer.
It's very far away.
It is a long trip, but it is expenses paid from Blizzard because they love us.
Yeah.
Very, very nice.
Awesome.
Hotel, room, and board.
All right.
It's a very, very long flight. It's I've been to Europe a few times in the last couple of years. Yeah, jet lag. The jet lag is real. The fact that it actually takes about 30-something hours to go from Australia to Europe.
Yeah.
It's pretty gross.
Too much flying 5me. That's for sure.
Yeah. Well, you managed to make that trip to Austin.
Yeah, but that's a little more bearable.
A little more bearable. Yeah. Well, anyway, guys, thank you very much for tuning in to see who comes through to Jönköping. But we're not done yet. Don't turn the stream off because we have a grand final to decide who gets the big bucks and who will be the victor of WCS ANZ Challenger. We'll see you next.